Shall not unalive, and in this video I'm going to talk about how self-defense has been turned into this evil thing, and it's been turned into another situation, kind of like the whole Geronophile thing I mentioned, where like people act like they're some type of martyr or hero because they allow themselves to be victimized, or because they allow other people to be victimized because, quote unquote, that's just how it is, it's just discipline, or that's none of my business, and I don't want to go to jail. Which, I mean, I can get the whole not wanting to go to jail thing, because it is purposely like set up to where, since law officials are chomos, the Lemites, they hate real men, they're perpetrators themselves overall, they don't want to lock up their own or charge them. And also younger people can go to jail for any and everything. Things are crimes for younger people that aren't even crimes for grown people. And younger people get life sentences for everything. If they defend themselves from their parent, if they unalive them, if they, what's the other thing? Even like defend themselves verbally, they're the bad guy. Also, how younger people are like, what's a good example? When people are trying to play like they care, if they're unalived by their parent, then they're a child, or maybe if they're like essayed or kidnapped and essayed by somebody who's like a random person, then they're a child. But when they defend themselves, then they're a grown man or a grown woman who deserves to be in prison. 12-year-olds get charged as adults, things like that. And what else could I say? Because I'm forgetting something. Oh yeah, the bias with the whole pro-choice thing. So like older people, well, let me not even say that. Parents can unalive their kids, but if the kid has to defend themselves in whatever situation, they can unalive their parent. And I know people are gonna feel some type of way about this, but I always say, I do not have any religious channels, so you're not gonna hear what you want to hear. Not gonna lie about that. So yeah, that's kind of a summary. Overall, how people turn themselves into like these types of projective heroes and martyrs. And yeah, that's what I'm going to be talking about. And I still feel like it's really similar to the Geronophile thing. So like, younger people can't date people around their age, but they can date 40-year-olds and stuff, and that's okay. So like, if a 19-year-old dates an 18-year-old, they're a chomo, quote unquote. But if a 7-year-old dates an 18-year-old or 17-year-old or whatever, then that's okay. So people can't date people their own age. And also how like people who have constantly been in chomo situations, some of them will fall into the cycle of dating chomos and people who are way too old for them, and they do it because they feel like as long as they're not the one dating younger people or dating people their age, they're not the bad guy. And that's a really big issue in America. It's like people do everything but actually protect and not harm people. But anywho, so I did have some notes at first that I was gonna read from like a email, just because that's where I typed it up at. But I actually found some other things, remembered some other things that I wanted to throw in there in the beginning. So it's probably going to be really, really long, way longer than I really wanted it to be. Okay, hold up. Am I even recording? Okay, so the first story I'm going to tell really quickly, hopefully, is going to be about one of the Cash for Kids system staff when I was in the self-confined placement, which was a little before I escaped the Cash for Kids system. I'm going to call her Miss B. This is going to be about not defending yourself, the religious flipped around thou shalt not unalive thing. And I mean, crap, just the fact that, I don't know, I guess people could throw in thou shalt not leave also, because I mean people will make that up and flip that around and try to use that, and like they kind of already have like made up this religious doctrine that, one, you should get married to people that you shouldn't marry in the first place, and then you can't leave and you have to stay in there, and get shot at. Wait, no, I guess I'm gonna have to say the whole quote unquote hoop thing so this doesn't get flagged or something. I forgot that part. Okay, I forgot to change my screen timeout settings as usual, so it cut off. But here's Miss B's story. And I titled this What Marriage? Wait a minute, now I'm confused. Anywho, so what happened was, or at least the little bits that I do remember from this fiasco, the self-confined staff would pretty much go on these trauma dump rants, which I mean, I didn't mind, but it was just a lot of mess with that. They're abusive themselves because they're unhealed trauma. They had a lot of slave trade, religious trauma, trauma, slave hurt, whatever I was calling it. I don't remember what I used to call it, but they had all that going on. And so one day, Miss B went on this rant about her trauma and how her mom was in this marriage and how she was a good woman of God and she stuck through that marriage like she was supposed to as a woman. Now, this was not a marriage. This was like, I don't know, something from like Saw or something. Probably even a little worse than that. But I guess the thing was supposed to, at least as my older neighbor sister used to tell me, Saw only unalive bad people. So I guess this was like a worse scenario. But anywho, her dad would like, what could I say, hoop at her and her mom with the quote unquote G because he didn't like them going to church. And so like her mom was a quote unquote good woman of God, usually religious bull crap. She stayed in the marriage. They would go to church even while their dad was literally trying to unalive them. While her dad was trying to unalive them. One day her brother had to fight her dad, and it's like not only did the mom not defend herself or the kids or even call the police something. That's another thing I could also mention. People not even doing the bare minimum of calling the police because they want to be the quote-unquote good guy, because perpetrators can do whatever they want to do. You just have to let people run all over you and do whatever they want. Not that the police will do anything, but this is the bare minimum. But yeah, not leaving, not nothing, and it's like people feel like if you're not letting people do whatever in the world they want to do to you or somebody else, and you're not witnessing it and just being a bystander, not caring, you're the bad guy. That's going to be the moral of the story with this video. So there's that little summary of that little thing right there. So they were being literally just gunned down almost, if I can even say that, while going to church, and it was okay because that's what you're supposed to do. Just go to church and be religious, and then that's that, and yeah. Something that people like to say, and like I always say, atheists and religious people use the same talking points. But anywho, they both say the whole their own responsibility on God and whatever other deities and all that bull crap, to not take accountability so people don't do things that they're supposed to do themselves. No different from throwing responsibility or accountability on these different organizations that don't even actually help people because there is no help. But people say things like, is God gonna protect the kids being blown up in Gaza or essayed in church? And my response to that is, what are you gonna do about it? Because all this other bull crap when people are literally lowercase gods and we were supposed to have dominion over the planet, but we've given our dominion to these different Nephilim and other deities, but still, we were supposed to be gods over this planet, not give all our power to some president or some random person or some organization. God wasn't even supposed to step down and intervene in things because this is our planet and we're the gods over the planet. And we have dominion over the planet. We did have it. But people don't want to do things themselves, so they have to throw responsibility elsewhere and wait for judgment. And now people are in this death cult where they're waiting to go to heaven and fly away. when that's not even the promise in the end anyways, and they're waiting for raptures. I don't even know where people get some of this doctrine from, but yeah. People want to do everything but what we should do, to make a long story short. Okay, another story. This is what happens when nothing is done about perpetrators. So I can put this video in the description if I can find it. To make a long little story short, Dad is into criminal lifestyle. He essays his son. He drags his son into the criminal lifestyle. Him and his son end up in the same prison. And now he's still essaying his son in prison. And of course, like, people don't really do anything. Because, I mean, what can you really do in prison anyways about Jack? Like, there's stories where people do try to help and they, like, beat on the doors for the guards to come do what they're supposed to do. But the guards are wherever in the world, doing whatever in the world. And they aren't there. And then, like, the person eventually loses their mind, splits into schizo, where they just end up unalive from the essay. And there's nothing that people can really do. So yeah, that's a summary of that little story. So, like, the dad was able to do whatever he wanted and drag his son into the bull crap because people love to drag their kids into the criminal lifestyle. And then there were some comments that were like, was the dude black? And honestly, I do want to know myself. I mean, people could say it's racial. It is racial, but I wouldn't be surprised if he is, to be honest. Especially with the whole dragging his son to the criminal lifestyle. Not saying that, like, white people don't do that, but I'm just saying it does kind of sound like some down low, effeminate thug persona do bull crap. Not gonna lie, it really does. Wouldn't be surprised if he is quote unquote black. I wouldn't be surprised if he wasn't as well, but either way. The situation happened, and actually apparently it's common because I remember in the comment section of that video, people were like, is this that same story? And they're like, no, this is a different story, the same thing. But prison is a Virgo Vasal sodomy ritual cult. That's all it really is. It's not about rehabilitation. Of course it's not. It's not about locking up bad people, which the people who really need to be in there typically won't be. This dude needed to be in there, but it's unfortunate that he dragged his son in there and people wouldn't intervene in the situation before his son was dragged into the bull crap, and now his son's in there still getting tortured, and just a whole bunch of bull crap of what happens when people can't defend themselves. They legally can't leave. They not even really the can't leave part, because leaving can be hard for a lot of reasons, but you can't defend yourself from your parent. Nobody else will say or do anything, and now you're still in some bull crap and still being tortured, and yeah. Then the last thing I have thrown in, or at least that's written down that I threw in last minute. The story from something I actually witnessed. This was some years ago, so this girl was on the bus talking about she got into a fight with her mom. Then this one boy, who was a mommy's boy, was like, you should never hit your mom. And then she was like, she went on this little rant about how, like, does your mom beat you till you bleed, and different things like that. Talking about the situation, he said, it doesn't matter, she's still your mom. Mommy's boy stuff, as usual. Also, normalized bull crap. And how your parents, or really any older person, should be able to do whatever they want to you, which leads to a lot of different bull crap. Just like with the normalized chomo stuff, where like your teacher would beat you, then your parents would beat you, then your neighbor would beat you, that people talk about all the time, how anybody was allowed to just like rip all your clothes off and start beating you with ropes and different objects, and probably feathers too. Because if somebody will hit someone and run around hitting people, they'll essay somebody. If they'll hit a kid, they'll essay a kid as well. It's all really the same thing. Whoopings are sexual abuse. So yeah, anywho, there's that. And then the argument took off. The bus driver eventually intervened because she started to hear, and she was like, okay, that's enough, because the boy was trying to argue with her. And mind you, this same boy is a mommy's boy, and he also he was running around talking about his dad was quote unquote weak, and how his dad was tripping quote unquote, because his dad was crying because his mom was about to take him and his brother and leave and not tell the dad where she was moving to, and he was never going to see his son again, or his sons again. And he was like, yeah, my dad's been tripping. Your dad's tripping because he's crying because you're about to get kidnapped. But yeah, Usual mommy's boy bullcrap, normalizing bullcrap. The mom can do whatever she wants. Same thing with the whole Disney thing where they always show these Jezebelic moms that are witches and stuff, and the whole mothers always know best thing. And so now I can get into the actual point. Okay, so to start off, or my second start off of things I threw in last minute, this is a really common, wait a minute. The idea that hurting people is bad, or that is quote unquote red rum, or the word that starts with M, is a common belief when it comes to serpent seed, fake you-know-whos, who have been through high-level SRA traf by their relatives. They believe that hurting them is bad, and if you do it, you're anti-SEM, you know what, and also you're a bad person too, because you can't do anything to anybody and just let them do whatever they want, and they can sacrifice people, but you can't even, I don't know, expose them verbally. And the thing is, I forgot to say this in the very beginning. When it comes to red rum, or the word that starts with M, that's when you run around doing things to people for no reason or for stupid stuff. So like over a girl, over some dude, or literally no reason whatsoever, which really over a boy or some girl, that's not a reason either. Self-defense is not red rum anyways. That's one of the biggest things that I really should have said in the beginning. So yeah, let me go ahead and read this. SRA traf, and are spending their lives running and hiding from their quote-unquote family, tend to have this very common anti-self-defense mindset. They believe if you defend yourself, you're just sick and evil and you're just as sick and evil and twisted and sadistic as those doing the harm. This is all manipulation and mind control, by the way. It's all bullcrap. And laws are evil, so just because something is illegal doesn't mean that it's a bad thing. Because I was trying to put my words together. Many believe this, but it's bullcrap. They also call it anti-you-know-what. If anyone even says anything about the issue of all the different forms of traf. Although I recently have thought about the need to focus on helping victims and not just punishing perpetrators. Because the main focus really should be like helping victims though. As far as CPS, I don't know what that was supposed to say. Calling CPS for stupid things like parents being homeless. Oh yeah, that's an example of punishing supposed perpetrators but not really focusing on helping the victims. Because for one, being homeless isn't being abusive, and two, going into CPS custody, it doesn't help. It's going into traf and being homeless still. And also CPS may not do anything, although if the parent is homeless, it is like an easy target to take the kids away and to traf them. So they may remove the kid, but that's just punishing somebody for no reason who doesn't necessarily have to be a perpetrator. But it's just not focused on helping the victim or supposed victim. Also, not being able to get over cognitive dissonance and no contact is also still just codependency and using people because you've been taught you can't live without them. Another thing to go along with the fact that staying in cults and around, I don't know what they're supposed to say, overall, staying around abusers is not forgiveness. Religious organizations and religious people will tell you that acting like nothing bad happened and just staying around their abusers like it's happy-go-lucky is forgiveness. That's not forgiveness. That's leeching off of people and mind control. And one of the scary things about it is that a lot of people who call themselves deliverance ministers and delivering people from spirits that they get from trauma and stuff, they have these mindsets. And that's one reason why I could go on a whole rant about this, but you can't really trust like a lot of these deliverance people. They're not necessarily all bad people, but it's just a lot of stuff with like certain mindsets they have in certain things, and it's just kind of risky, but that's not even what this video is going to be about. And I'm going to be kind of shaky because my blood sugar is maybe kind of dropping, I think. Some say only defend yourself from an abuser if a G is to your head, or a KN, like, what could I say, a shank. That's a better word because that isn't really good, like a abbreviation, to your throat. But to be honest, abuse shouldn't even be allowed to get to that point. The victim should have been allowed out. And notice allowed because in society people are seen as property and feel they have to give you rights to live your life, which is a big thing in adultism and anti-youth. But anywho, that's already dangerous. And still then, especially if the abuser is a parent, guardian / cash for kid system trafficking staff, they really don't agree with that and will say you're the bad guy. And I think I'm saying that, what was I saying when I typed this up? They don't really agree that you should be able to leave, or even that abuse shouldn't be allowed to get to this point. I think that's what I was saying. I don't know. This is going to be all over the place. But in DV, a woman is told the guy who will strangle you is very likely to take your life. Oh, yeah. If you're the kid and they're the parent, it's just different dynamics. It's a lot of biases with a DV, especially DV with like a woman who's being beat on by a man, or supposedly is being beat on by a man. That's seen different, and like people pretend to care more than, but yeah. Simply because older people have more rights. So like if your parent strangles you, it's discipline. If you're a woman and your boyfriend strangles you, then that's a bad thing. But for the kids, it's one of various disciplines / MKUltra rituals. And I've even heard some older people say that in the 80s to 90s, even before then, you could legally unalive your kid for discipline and no one would say anything, and you wouldn't go to jail, nobody would do anything, there'd be no funeral, they wouldn't get buried, nothing. That's what older people say all the time. Along with the whole your teacher could beat you, your parent could beat you, your neighbor could beat you thing, so a whole bunch of pedo stuff, the usual, stuff like that. And these are the people that call themselves pro-lifers. So really, it's all pro-choice. And still in the end, in a society where self-defense is deemed wrong, not just due to the adultism, but in general, people are going to manipulate situations, no matter what was happening to who. Then you see where the teacher spankings are going with all the women teachers who are getting with the boys. So yeah, same culture, same bull crap, didn't change. So some more start off points. Thou shalt not unalive unless it's if it's your parents, if it's your abusers, if it's not other random melanated people for no reason. So like the whole listening to music about unaliving other melanated people, that's okay. That's nothing's wrong with that. So like you can listen to songs about somebody talking about, I don't know, hooping up everybody in their neighborhood for no reason whatsoever, just going around just doing the daily dose of backdooring. That's okay, but if you unalive somebody because they tried to do something to you, they did do something to you, then that's bad, and that's not acceptable. So just let people destroy you from the backside and get 13 anal stitches and be the martyr, pick up your cross, the different things that people say. Just let whatever goes. And I mean, yeah, if you defend yourself, you're definitely going to go to jail because law officials, I'm screwing this up because my blood sugar is dropping, but law officials don't want you to hurt their own, and it's your fault, you're the bad guy because it's illegal. But just because it's illegal doesn't mean you should just let people do whatever they want to, although I mean, going to jail is definitely very unfortunate and it shouldn't happen, but people can say whatever they want to say, but I wouldn't let people do whatever in the world to me. I'll say that. But I definitely will say, though, since you have no rights against abusers, you definitely should try to, back away slowly and quietly and get out some other way, if it's possible, but it can be hard. Like if you're strapped to a table or something, or a bed or whatever in the world, or there's cameras everywhere, there's locks on the doors, that can be really hard to get out of. But it's just very unfortunate. It's definitely not fair, but just because you'll go to jail for it doesn't mean you're the bad person. People can say whatever they want to say. I don't really care. If it's not for fame or sacrifice, then it's bad. So if you're not taking out your quote-unquote best friend, or, well, if you're not pulling a YNW Melly for fame, then it's not okay. So, like, yeah, take out your friend for a sacrifice so you can get some money. That's okay. But don't take out people like Birdman, who will do what he did to Lil Wayne, essay him and do all the different rituals, then try to unalive him, then try to sue him, then have him so depressed he tried to unalive himself by a bullet to the chest at 12, and all that stuff that happened. Don't take out people like Birdman, because that's bad. Just take out your neighbors and your cousin over a girl. That's okay. So yeah, because that's how people think. And I know people will say this is black and white thinking, and how are you going to tell me how I feel? I mean, if the shoe fits, then wear it. But overall, evil works by majority rule. And if majority rule wasn't ruling, the issues in the world wouldn't be the issues in the world. Then there's the whole it's the elites people. Leaders are an extension of the people. So, I mean, if people weren't the way they were, then leaders wouldn't even be there. But there's so much I could say about that. And what else could I say? I think I already read that. If it's not... Dang, my blood sugar is dropping. Oh my gosh. If it's not to be like some guy in the effeminate thug persona, so if you're not like hurting people to be one of these effeminate down low thugs with their butt out, then it's bad. So still the whole don't defend yourself for an actual reason, just run around doing whatever you want to people for no reason, that's okay. If you're not doing it for pro-choice, if it's not pro-choice, so like if you're not a parent taking out your kid, then it's an issue. Because of obvious bias with age, adultism, is eugenics, all that stuff. Okay, so, hold up. Okay, yeah, a lot of stuff was going a little left, so I had to like drink some electrolyte water. But it's still going to take a little while to kick in. So, 1, cops are actually red rumming people, as well as like other law officials, all the time for no reason. So that's actual red rum. As well as other Freemason, Luciferian, I don't know what all I can and can't say, the Lee My Chomo, real men hating as I always call them, anti-youth, pro-abuse, triple K, because I forgot that part, which is a Freemason branch under the pagan Roman Catholic Church. The Knights Templar, they all use the hook decks, etc. But anywho, law officials. This is also why abusers or real criminals don't get charged or go to jail, or not for long. So like, I'm still gonna edit the screenshots into the beginning actually. So they're gonna be there about like how the real people who are really running around doing stuff, they don't get charged. How grown people can just run around essaying people. And the reason I say this is because 7-year-olds literally get put on the registry for acting out their own sexual trauma, or just for getting lied on by whoever and somebody saying, no, this kid did this. They get put on the registry and they get locked up for years well past 18 over some bull crap that either didn't happen or that they kind of just had no control over because they just didn't know. But real grown people who are really running around doing things, nothing happens to them. People can say what they want to say, but younger people get locked up for any and everything. Like, as I always talk about, the kid victim gets charged with quote-unquote CP when different little situations go down with CSA imagery. So, like, the Chomo makes the videos and they get the pictures or whatever. The kid victim gets charged. The kid victim gets labeled off as a S offender and they get put on the registry for their own abuse. This is something that nobody talks about, but I've met so many people who are 10, 11, 12, whatever years old throughout my life who are literally in these situations. They have all these charges on their record from these different abusers. And also the thing I talk about, which goes on with the whole Drana Files thing, where like 18-year-olds get charged for dating a 17-year-old and they get put on the registry, which goes on with the other thing that I mentioned, which is that the age of consent laws don't mean what people think they mean. For one, people are talking about they're going to lower it to 14. It already has been 14. unless it got like kicked up a notch within the past I don't know how many years, but other than that it already was 14. It actually used to be lower than that, and if it has been higher, it's max 15. So people are just talking about things, and it just shows how much people have never listened to victims and have never really actually cared, and they're just trying to make everything a political thing, and they're like, oh my gosh, they're going to lower it to 14. It's been 14. Like, what in the world? It wasn't 18 to begin with, as people running around saying, which it doesn't even matter because, as I just said, age of consent laws do not mean what people think they really mean. It's not about protecting people, which I have a video about that I'm going to put in the description because I don't want to get too off topic. But like, the thing about age of consent laws, they're put in place to charge youth for getting with each other. Not saying that they should, but I mean, it's literally put in place so that way, like if two 15-year-olds get together, they can't get charged and put on the sex offender registry if their parents find out. But still, if like, I mean, it depends on where you live though, so like, depending on where you live, if the parents get mad, they can put their kids on the sex offender registry for dating each other. Nothing even really has to happen, which it doesn't make a difference because that's still crazy. Actual people who run around essaying people don't get charged, like the grown people don't at least, but if two 15-year-olds are dating each other, they can get put on the registry for dating. That's what that actually means. So age of consent never meant what people think it means anyways. And I'm still going to be pretty sick and shaky, but I'm just going to keep going because I really want to hurry up and make this before I like keep procrastinating. Oh my gosh. So, to keep going though. Where was I? Oh my gosh, hold up. Another thing, essay is not considered a violent crime. It's really not considered a crime at all, but it's not considered a violent crime. A lot of people don't know that. This is also why victims get charged. I think that's, what was I trying to say when I typed this up? Victims get charged, perpetrators don't. I think I screwed that up. Hold up. Okay, I screwed this up because I typed this up really fast. And I was actually mad about something when I typed this up. Because typically, I'm not going to lie, I do kind of make these videos, like, in the midst of some emotions about different things. But anywho, yeah, so victims get charged when they didn't do anything wrong. So it's really reversed. So, like, pretty much how the cult works, things are flipped around. The victim gets charged, the perpetrator doesn't. But because laws are evil, laws are the opposite of morals. The Most High's original design was anarchy. Autocorrect really screwed this up actually, so it wasn't just me, because I know for a fact I did not put that. But the Most High's original design was anarchy. I have a video about that I keep forgetting to re-upload. I also mentioned the whole how the Israelites, the true Yashrael anyways, not these other people that are Swedish, Irish, and German. They said they wanted a king that wasn't the original design, blah, 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 blah. Power to the people to fix their own issues and to handle their own legal disputes and different things that happen in the town. Of course, people definitely took advantage of that, but I mean, having other people over you that don't really care about your people and what's going on in your town has caused way more issues. Having to go to like presidents and different stuff like that has caused people to get away with all types of whatever in the world. We already know that, hopefully. People are individually gods with power over our planet, or were at least. Now we let the Nephilim hybrids and everyone but ourselves take over, so the rule of man is almost up, or pretty much it is up. People are going to see that soon. That's a whole other topic. I noticed that people try to make this a weird religious or moral spiritual topic, which is funny in a society that sees morals and spirituality as a thing for uneducated people, schizos, poor people, poor and educated people, melanated people. Where am I? People in third world countries. Oh wait, poor and educated people in I'm screwing this up. Schizophrenic black people, religious fervor, etc. Don't know if I spelled that right. who sing Negro spirituals and are homophobic. That's what people say. Not gonna go into all that, because atheism is a white supremacist construct. But anywho, people try to make self-defense a religious thing whenever a kid unalives or verbally defends herself from a parent or guardian, or is depressed and unalives herself while having rich parents. And this is honestly mostly due to jealousy of the quote-unquote silver spoon kids, because people feel like they should at least be glad they can eat, which is an assumption commonly seen with situations like T.I.'s son King Harris, Kong, Jaden Smith, I think that's his name, and other essayed rich kids like the Mendez brothers. So all three of these people have went through Virgo Vasal, sodomy rituals, usual essay rituals, also the Baphomet turnout ritual. So like, what's his name? Or is Jaden Smith the dad? I can't even really remember these people's names, I'm not gonna lie, but anyways, the Pinkett people, whatever in the world, so both the kids are named after the parents. The son is named after the mom, the daughter's named after the dad. That alone is a Baphomet turnout ritual. They're both essayed by their parents. T.I. is said to have gotten his own daughter pregnant. And of course he turned out his son and other kids. He even hides this one kid who's like supposedly openly turned out. And there's a lot of stuff I could say about that, but especially with T.I.'s son, it's a known fact that people are always saying he should be happy. He's a silver spoon kid. He's just so rebellious and spoiled because he's traumatized, of course, from all the rituals he's witnessed. Because T.I. and Tiny have a lot of lawsuits against them for like luring people into rituals and different weird stuff, men and women and whoever else. And people just say he's a silver spoon kid because people are jealous about the money. But the thing is, as I've always said, there really isn't a rich kid typically. Their parents are rich, but just because the parents are rich doesn't mean they're rich. Like, I mean, I've known rich kids personally who like weren't even allowed to eat. So yeah, another story. But when a person of any age unalives or fights a chomo, or when someone defends another person from such situations, what was I saying? I don't even remember. But overall, they're labeled off as a bad person. That's the point. And people are saying things like, well, it's not good to quote-unquote red rum somebody, even though that's not what that word means. But yeah, that's the point of this video. People are just really weird. And the issue is that people are enablers and abusers themselves. Way too many people are, and it's all normalized, and nobody wants anything done about it. But yeah, they pretend they do, but really they don't care if it doesn't involve them. That's the overall point. And do keep in mind that a lot of the people in comment sections where people are talking about different cases that revolve around these things are chomos themselves, or people who have been abused themselves, which probably are chomos themselves as well now. But they just feel like, because they have cognitive dissonance, everybody else should. So like, I'm going to get into that though. I think I typed that up. Because I have a good example I like to use with the people who say this happened to me and I never did jack about it. I just sat there. And I mean, good for you, I guess. But, where am I? Even if the perpetrator is a random person walking down the street. So like, somebody gets essayed walking down the street by some random person. They defend themselves, they're still the bad guy, because people don't want people to do anything to these types of perpetrators. And people use morals, bullcrap morals, and sometimes even scriptures to do this and to normalize allowing these things. Like if a kid or adult unalives or even hurts their literal trafficker, they get a life sentence. Now, I personally advise trying to just get away, simply because spending your life getting tortured just to get locked away and tortured isn't it. And I also know not all situations are easy to get out of. One, because of U.S. crackdown on runaway laws since the 90s. Two, because rich abusers are impossible to escape. High-level SRA victims, especially in the Serpent Sea bloodline, typically spend the rest of their life on the move, running and hiding and moving around, trying to escape their family who's trying to lure them back in and smear campaign them and stuff. And there you may literally be locked up somewhere, like, I don't know, locked in a closet or whatever. I also personally advise grave rocking or stonewalling, although this can make some situations more dangerous. But never argue with people who have the ability to ruin your life, including getting locked away for no reason, simply for verbally standing up for yourself, because that's one form of them ruining your life. I see all of this as another form of projective heroism. One joke I always make is the person who says things like, quote unquote, I got sodomized, burned with cigarette lighters, locked outside in the snow, with no clothes on. My arm got broken, my mom stole my boyfriend, I ended up in the ICU, just to later get sent home. Don't know where Roger came from, but, and I never once even thought about laying a hand on my abuser. People who say bullcrap like that. So those who talk back or defend themselves or unalive their abusers have no excuse and are evil scum of the earth. First off, people who say things like this are probably lying. I hope so. And if this is true, it's because they've been conditioned to believe that they deserve it, and this is okay, and that they are bad for wanting to save their life and stand up for themselves. Or maybe they were just lucky enough to actually understand nobody would care and they go to jail, so they might as well not do it. But now they become cognitive dissonance warped and could now become an abuser, enabler, and flying monkey themselves, which they definitely are, if they're saying bullcrap like that to people who did defend themselves. And then these are the same people that claim to feel upset when situations like Gabriel Fernandez happen. But if he would have defended himself, he wouldn't be free. He'd be locked up, getting drugged on psychotropics somewhere, and or serving a life sentence in a chomo jail, adult prison, or juvie, which juvie can be worse with staff. Because when you're younger, you have to worry about the staff doing stuff to you. But MH facilities, TTIs, are worse. All MK Ultra traf organizations, which also goes into how younger people always get life sentences and things, or crimes for younger people that aren't crimes for grown people. Also can go into how DV is only DV when it's a woman being yelled at or hit by a man. Not that people really care either way, LOL, but yeah, Gabriel would have been told he was just bad, he should have ran to some help organization and that doesn't even exist. He should enjoy prison. If he would have run a life his parents, he'd be told the usual, this kid or this person is going to like what happens to them in prison when they're in the showers. Sick stuff that people like to say. That's what would have happened if he would have defended himself. Even if he would have tried to go get help from somebody, which there is no help, but still. But when parents do it, nothing happens, not even a charge, and for no reason at that. Which I'm pretty sure people say his parents didn't even get charged, which, that's the usual. The parent/family also can sue people for even saying that they should stand trial. But for the kid, there's never an excuse, quote unquote. People will also talk about how revenge is bad if the kid is 18 plus still, say they should have walked away because they're grown men or women. Which there's a bias with that too, which I think I already talked about. So I don't know, if you walk down the street and you get essayed at 18, then people are going to be like, oh my gosh, that's a child, how could they do this? But if you, I don't know, steal food from the store because you're hungry at 8, oh, that's a grown man, they should have known to go get a job and make some money so they could buy some food for themselves. That's how people are. It's all weird, stupid stuff. But yeah. Or I don't know, if you're 18 and you get kidnapped, no, I think I already used an example like that. If you're 18 and I don't know, your stepdad punches your mom in the face and he's beating her halfway to death, and you, I don't know, take his quote-unquote G and you use it against him, then you're in jail for the rest of your life and you're the bad guy and you're horrible and stuff like that. Even if the mom actually, surprisingly, which usually this doesn't work this way, doesn't put the man over the kid, and she's like, yeah, I mean, he helped me defend myself, he being, I don't know, the son or whatever, you're still gonna go to jail because you're a grown man and you should have walked away, I guess. I don't know, people say bullcrap like that. But yeah. So anywho, which there's a lot wrong with that, but I mean, why don't women in DV walk away? People could say the same thing then, but whenever you're the kid and the perpetrator gets hurt and they're the parent or guardian, then people say you should have walked away, and it's like, but then when they run away, then they need to go home. They're grown, they're bad, they're being fast. They need to be a child and stay in a child's place and go back home and stop running away. And even if they're 18 plus, even if they're in their late 20s, they should have stayed home and stopped being grown. People are just so sick in the head and twisted. It's like I used to say since I was like 4 to 6. What was it? If whether I don't do it or what was it? No, that wasn't it. I'm in trouble regardless of what I do or don't do. Something like that. It was something like that, like regardless of what I do or don't do, I'm in trouble anyways, pretty much. So like, it's like you can't do anything right. People are always trying to one up you. You always did something wrong. You can't do anything right. People are always a master and the god of your situation, telling you what you should have done, coulda, woulda, who could, hoodoo, voodoo, coulda, probably, maybe had, done it, woulda have. It's just like, what in the world? Like, people can't do jack diddly, and it's like there's always somebody talking about what you should be doing, shouldn't have done. Nobody really cares. That's really the moral of the story. People really don't care, and that's pretty much it. So, anywho, some even say this for younger people, even though that's illegal for them to leave in the U.S., and you can get reported missing at any age, which can cause so many issues and smear campaigning and all types of bull crap. Especially if your abuser claims you have some type of quote-unquote mental illness or physical disability. Then they can report you missing and say, yeah, help me get my retarded child back home because they left and we want him back and we're worried about him and just by the way, he's mentally ill, so he's going to lie and say that we sodomized him because he's mentally ill, even though mental illness comes from trauma. But oh well, nobody cares anyway, so they're just going to like put in their anonymous tips to the police and say, yeah, I saw him here and I saw him there, and yeah, come get him, guys, and take him back home. It's like, leave, don't leave, call the police, call CPS, don't call them, because then if you call them, you're bad and you're ungrateful. They're not going to do anything anyways. Don't hurt them. Just sit there, count to 10 when you're being punched in the face. Whatever in the world. We don't really care, so we're just going to tell you what you should do, even though we don't care, because we don't care. Okay, so if they're rich, they can always pay people off to find you. This is really common when people in the Serpent Seed bloodline or whatever bloodlines where they're going through high-level traps. So like they escaped their abusive family, they're a Euro, you know what, a Rev 29. Now they're in college and they're trying to get a PhD to write books about why being a chomo isn't bad after escaping SRA trap. But anywho, they do that commonly. So they're in college, their abusive family is now paying people off, like the teachers and other people, to say, yeah, I saw them here, come get them. This is literally what these people do, by the way. Like, I'm not just like giving an example, they actually do this. They will pay people at your school to turn you into them. Like, they'll find, I don't know, some sick person, they'll be like, yeah, if you see this person, let me know. And yeah, so there's that. So leaving can be really hard for a lot of reasons. Or worse, you're in a conservatorship or guardianship, something most can't leave. A lot of people can't even leave before getting trapped in these. And people who are in these conservatorships and guardianships, they also pass away in them as well. But anywho, it's all bias. Bias from people who are pro-abuse, don't want their chomo friends to be locked up and feel it's chomophobic. Hate crimes, enablers, flying monkeys. Chomophobic hate crimes to get them locked up or to hurt them. Enablers, flying monkeys, ignorant. Some are jealous of the parent's money. I already kind of mentioned that. Hopefully this is making sense. etc. Many people even say things like, this kid should have learned to endure essay like other kids. And I actually seen comments like that under the Mendez brothers situation, where people are like, I guess they just couldn't take it like a lot of other kids do, but other kids endure. And it's like, why do people have to endure something? I'm not about to, I know me personally, I'm not about to endure Jack Diddley. You can endure, but I'm not about to endure Jack Diddley. You can, I don't know, end up having to get lip replacements for all 4 of your lips, but I'm not about to endure Jack, so have fun with that. But people shouldn't have to endure anything like they should have learned to endure, but they mentally broke and that's why they did it. Why do you have to be mentally ill to defend yourself? Self-defense is a mental illness. Like, Americans are so obsessed with mental illness, but that's what I always say. Mental illness is an American obsession to where nobody has to take accountability for anything. So, like, people can say, oh, yeah, I sold my kid and I prostituted them and now they stare off into space, but, you know, they're just retarded, which I have seen that before. Not going to go into that story, but, yeah, they're just handicapped and that's why they stare off into space all the time. And it's not because I'm prostituting my 5-year-old, but oh, well. Then also people can say, yeah, I'm not an essayer, I'm just retarded and I have a learning disability and I'm autistic and that's why I can't stop essaying people. It's all bullcrap. And that's why I can't stay away from the playground. And yeah, I was jerking off at the park, but oh well, I'm autistic. But yeah, so people really say that and it's like, just, oh yeah, they can use this. They can use religious verse for this too, and flip that around, because God said endure till the end. So it's just so annoying. I think I'm dissociating as well, but oh well. And then when the victims passed away, people do a fake kumbaya and say, if only someone knew, if only they could have got out. I care. And as I always say, people who have been in abuse situations never, well, unless they have cognitive dissonance anyways, they never say, I wish somebody knew. They say, I wish somebody cared, because everybody already knows. They just don't care. Because they don't want to get involved. They're too scared to help. It's a lot of, if only someone knew. Did I already? No. I'm seeing stuff. I'm hold up. It's a lot of false care going on right now. It's very old, ancient infos exposed, quote unquote, again and again. Like the Epstein thing, which I really feel like is a distraction. Because, I mean, why are people acting like they finally believe now? Like, yeah, now I believe and now I care, and it's all annoying, really. As it's still all called conspiracy and attention seeking, and they even say the victims are just sick. Like people say Cassie is sick. What's that girl's name? Not Vicky. Little Tay. People say she's sick for having guys wait for her to release her OnlyFans since she was 12, as if that was her decision and not her parents' decision. For people to be waiting for her OnlyFans since she was 12. But okay, well, Little Tay is sick. Cassie is sick. Actually, going back to the ageist bias, like Allie Carter said, people say that Diddy's kids are at risk, and people are saying, what about Diddy's kids? Now they look bad. But she was like, what about Cassie? Was she not a kid when she was 19 being trapped and stuff? But anywho, but it's all a bias game. It's all a blame game too. It's like, yeah, it's your fault and usual bullcrap. Or someone finding a way to put their self over others as others is better. I think by saying like, I never hit my abusers, or I'm better than you because I'm nice to my parents and I respect my parents. I respect the random dude who took me in off the streets and said he was going to be my parent, and then he started essaying me. But I have forgiveness in my heart and I'm bearing my cross, so now I'm helping him shower because he's old now. And I'm helping him shower not because I was grown, but because he's getting old and I forgive him. And I have seen situations like that as well, but that was also in the religious organizations. Not that I go to church, but this was like in a religious space, I could say, because it was like in a live stream where a dude was talking about this. And the live stream was of a dude who does deliverance on people, and then this guy went on this rant about how he has forgiveness in his heart, and he forgives the dude that never cared or apologized or jack. But okay, whatever. we're bearing our cross, I guess. Where was I? And overall, red rum is taking someone's life for no reason, not for a reason, as I have to keep saying. Which people uplift the rap music and rock and country and horror films that talk about that and uplift hurting people for no reason. They say it's cool and it's great and it's art. But it's bad for someone to stop a kidnapper from taking kids from the park and doing other honestly heroic deeds. In fact, a lot of issues have happened recently with like the Roblox thing, and even throughout the years with like predator catcher channels, which honestly, I don't really like predator catchers, I'm not gonna lie, but I'm not even gonna go into that here. But law enforcement hates quote-unquote vigilantes, and me personally, ever since I was like, I don't know, 6, 7, I was interested in anonymous hackers and other vigilante type groups. And I've always been pretty interested in like real life superhero movement, different things like that. And yeah, so I guess I could say, I don't know, I like vigilante type stuff, but law enforcement hates it. They really do. And if you do like helping people or you care about other people, you're a quote-unquote sociopath, but I'm not going to go into that. So, since people are trying to make this a moral or religious topic, being a coward is also something you can go to hell for. So, for the self-defense is a bad thing, quote-unquote. If you let someone break into your house and beat up your family, you're actually sinning now by being a coward. There's a verse in there in the Bible about that. Also, the I'm minding my own business, people, coward. This also deeply put in the liberals, especially with all the stages of all the staged false flag, sacrifice school hoopings to push anti-G laws. So like liberals run around saying G's are bad, G's are terrible because conditioning, which honestly, I'm not really too into the whole G thing anyways, but like liberals are made to believe that self-defense is bad, which I could say a lot about that, but I mean a lot of people really are. To keep people from being able to protect their self from the gov, which is the real reason people are being put under mind control. That it's bad to defend yourself, so you are complacent in the beast system and MARTIAL, I think, law stuff and public ropings by the government from, I don't know, trees or whatever that they're gonna do. Like Noah Hyatt laws and stuff like that, which is actually chopping off limbs, but fluoride in the water makes us docile and effeminate, or men effeminate, anywho. This is more hippie Caesar Borgia, love all, arrow, sexual manifesto, no harm done to anybody bullcrap. So like just love everybody hug each other, nature boy, butt naked crisscross applesauce in the woods, no self-defense, let's just quote unquote love everybody. That's all this stuff really is. Which makes everyone involved. Which makes everybody, I guess, enablers, I don't know. But everybody is an enabler in all the things that happen in the world, so everything that happens in the world happens because we let it happen. Then back to the no revenge thing. I'm assuming this is supposed to go back to only God can judge or only God can get revenge. Which there's a lot I could say about this. Atheists and religious people have the same arguments and talking points, so when something happens, instead of them doing something or even a simple 911 call, especially in an actual, like, I don't know, G-crime situation, somebody's literally, like, getting hooped at, or they have been, and they're, like, bleeding on the ground, they'll be, like, quote-unquote, God fix it, angels fix it, if God loves people, this wouldn't happen to them, and all that bullcrap. Screw all of that. This was supposed to be our planet under our dominion. While judgment does come and the judgment dispensation is here, the promise was never for God to step down and a wife beater saying this is my rifle and there are many like it, but this one is mine, and start hooping people. That wasn't the promise. People are supposed to do what they're supposed to do and take care of people and love their neighbors, since all the love bullcrap is everywhere. Every time something happens, which God isn't supposed to step down and I don't know, beat people up and punch people in the face. Whatever people think is supposed to happen, you're really supposed to do that, I guess, but he doesn't get involved in human affairs like that, and not till a certain amount of iniquity has boiled over and filled up in the wrath cup and grace is out. And that's for a nation and worldwide sin anyways, not just individual people. Well, I mean, kind of, but overall when it comes to the big issues that are going on, the nation has to have a certain iniquity filled up, which is why America has been in this judgment since 2012. I'm talking fast because I'm trying to wrap this up, but I may be talking too fast now I think about it. This is just an excuse for people to not take accountability for their actions. They're doing their part in the community. No different than people putting accountability on the government for everything. I don't know, saying, let's just call CPS, things like that. As if CPS is not a traffic organization. But anywho, they're not going to do anything, but pretending the government helps with things they really don't. Even just with crime, not even just with crimes or traffic organizations like CPS, which is glorified homelessness, but even issues I don't know, world hunger and homelessness. So people saying, I'm not going to help them, but I hope they get help from some organization that doesn't exist. For younger people, there is no help if you're homeless at I don't know, 12 or 14 or something. You can go to jail for it, but also you just have to eat out of dumpsters at that age. So but even, no, I already read that. We were supposed to help each other, but we're not, and there's many excuses. And in the end, we have to save ourselves, but it's very prohibited, even to the extent of walking away being a crime. Hold up. As far as vengeance, this would revolve around actual hate and bitterness, which is also a soul tie. Not self-defense. It's really keeping people in your mind, letting them have power over you. But people are always going to try to misconstrue that. People call going no contact with abusers and removing yourself from the situation hate and unforgiveness and bitterness. It's normal that people believe that if you're not being victimized when you're a bad guy, you're not a social... Wait. It's normal that people believe that if you're not being victimized, then you're the bad guy. Because I kind of read that a little... I don't know, I didn't read it how I was supposed to, in my head anyways. Because I was like, wait a minute, what does this say? But you're not a social justice warrior or a hero. You're not bearing a cross. You're not turning the other cheek. You're not being a martyr, which is about something totally different. And most Western and American Christians, which I'm not really into the Christian label and stuff anyways, but they don't typically really believe that the whole martyr thing is really going to happen to them, and they're not really ready for that. But anywho, oh yeah, with the rapture thing, they're waiting to fly away and stuff, but you're either an abuser, an enabler, you're normalizing a victim complex and being a perpetual victim. So you're not a martyr when you're letting people do whatever they want to. You're just a victim. You're just somebody with a victim complex who maybe is addicted to having things happening or having something to talk about, so you can get on the phone and say, yeah, he punched my eye out again, and now I'm listening to, how does that song go? You beat me black and blue, and I can't stop chasing, however it goes. You're listening to bullcrap like that, and you're not a martyr, you're not turning the other cheek, you're just a victim, or you're allowing people to be victimized around you and you're not doing anything about it. Maybe even addicted to the cycle of being able to talk about how you're quote-unquote long-suffering and don't walk away and let it all happen. You're the good wife and yeah, you're sick. Stop it. This is a similar complex to the one I recently discovered with what I'm just gonna call Geronophiles. This is really an American thing, to be honest, because we have serious issues with calling bad good and good bad, and then saying we're the best at stopping the bad. The belief pushed on the youth by perpetual victims and chomos themselves that If you date people your age or 1 to 3 years younger or older than you, you're the bad guy or you're the chomo. The belief that 18 and 57 or 17 and 27 is okay, but 18 and 17 is bad, 16 and 18 is bad, 19 and 18 is bad, 20 and 21 is supposedly bad, etc. is bad, but dating people too old for you isn't a PDF file. So pretty much dating people your age makes you a chomo. But if you date people that are older than you or too old for you, now you're not the bad guy, so now it's okay. And many people fall into cycles of dating predators and older people. Predators pretty much, and can't date anyone their age or even 1 to 3 years younger because they feel like then they're the bad guy when in reality they need to stop dating in general and really fix some stuff.